Loving on those who hate me, I found joy.
So we're good to go. Hey, everybody, this is Chris, and today I'm here with Kai Kurasawa.
That is correct.
And welcome to The Q Show.
The Q Show.
And today we're fortunate enough to have Kai drop in. In fact, we were trying to figure out what to talk about this Friday, and I was saying this morning, you know what I could do is just have people call in and do one of those Ask Me Anythings, and then I realized I'm not really ready for people to ask me anything, and people have just been kind of horrible to me on the internet lately, and it's okay. I have thick skin. I really don't.
Ask me anything, but don't ask me that.
Yeah.
Kind of like Meatloaf. Didn't the Meatloaf have a song like that back in the day?
Yeah.
It's like, I would do anything for love.
Now I see why you play that instrument. All right.
I cannot sing. That is true.
But how you been, man? It's been so long. I think I saw you last at NAMM.
Maybe. I think so. I've been doing like most people have been doing, I think.
I feel like that everybody's just kind of chugging along and trying to keep their head above water lately.
Yeah. But it's okay. It's what I do is kind of a lifestyle, so I'll be doing it no matter what. So
that's true.
Yeah. So in that sense, I think I feel fortunate, I guess, in unfortunate times as well.
Right. It's like anything, it's a bit of a challenge. I think I shared on another episode that I was, kind of going through health troubles, but music has like always been that kind of stalwart companion. Mm-hmm. The one thing I never seem to be able to, completely get away from, even if I wanted to, it won't leave me.
Right.
How did you get involved in music in the first place? There's a good question.
In terms of playing or?
Well, because there are people who play music in the world, right? And then there's Kai.
That's right. The one and only.
I have a lot of, I've got a lot of friends who play music, right? But there are like some people's brains work differently. I don't know. I don't know how, well, to fully explain it, I'm going to have to intersperse this video at some point later and do some editing and include like a little snippet of Kai actually playing so you can get a sense of like the nearly inhuman capabilities of this man. How on earth did you get there? Where did this all start?
First off, I grew up when I was very young. Well, That sounds wrong. Okay.
Right.
So that was a lie. The first lie you told already. I was in St. Louis, Missouri when I was up until I was 4. So that's why I actually sound American, or at least part American, I guess. And I was in Japan from 4 to 18. And so there is somewhat of a music program, like education system in Japan. So I did go through that as well. Also, my mom taught me how to play piano. It was just like a home thing, I kind of learned to read music, but not really. I mostly just memorized where the fingers went.
Right.
And I quit piano when I was 12, and it was a big deal because I think that was the first thing my mom ever let me quit at my own will because I just didn't enjoy it. I love piano. I love enjoying listening to pianists, and I get a lot of inspiration from piano, but I just didn't like it when I played it.
Right.
I just didn't sound good. And I started playing electric bass when I was 15.
Right.
One of the big things was I actually was a big Bon Jovi fan at the time, and their bass player had the same, or I had the same birthday as him.
Oh, okay.
And I thought, it's a sign.
The stars are aligned.
Yeah, I know. Let's play bass. I tried guitar, actually.
Right.
I did try trumpet, trombone, and then guitar. didn't like it, but I started playing bass parts on the guitar, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun.
Right.
And fast forward half a year, 15 and a half, or it might have been 16 by the time, but I got my first 6-string bass, and I was basically playing piano parts on it. Like I was playing melody, chords, bass, all. And I started doing that on a 4-string bass, actually. It was just, I just liked the warm sound of bass. Like guitar was like too kind of harsh for me. Even to this day, sometimes I wonder if I'm mixing something or if I'm making my sound on stage. I always try to make sure to ask people if it's not too dark, because I would just make things too dark in general for most people, because like the highs just bother me. Anyway, so yeah, I just really like the sound of bass, and people sometimes ask me, why do you play bass? Because you were playing all these, bass chords and melody and everything, and I just like the sound of the instrument. And so that's how I started playing bass, and I enjoyed playing bass parts too, and went to Berklee for the summer program and ended up going to Berklee College of Music after that. And then the whole time I was playing bass as well, and went through the whole how to play bass in different settings and education, different systems and everything. And while I was doing that, I started playing war guitar, which is basically something similar to what I play right now. That was a 12-string. I went and checked out many different music, and I didn't find anything I liked that was on that instrument. I thought everything actually sounded terrible. So I actually decided, you know what, I'm just gonna not buy music with this instrument anymore, because I just don't like it. And which was, I that's just an honest opinion at the time, cocky college kid. And I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna try to figure out how to make music that I want to make on it. And so that's kind of where I started developing, my people always say like their own style, their own technique, but I don't feel too guilty of saying that, because I think there are things that I do that are very unique to me, and my instrument is designed very unique to me at this point. And I just kind of stuck with it, and then I started performing with it, recording with it while I was still playing bass. Right. And I was actually a pretty good bass player, but I at some point, once I was in California, I went to California Institute of the Arts, CalArts. That was the main reason I moved to California. And then I, at some point, didn't really decide, but just kind of stopped practicing bass, and I just shifted my focus, my whole thing to my main instrument, which was a 12-string at the time, and said, you know what, let's just do it. And once MTD, Michael Tobias Design, Michael and Daniel, father and son Luthier, built me my custom instrument, Kubo, the aircraft carrier. I actually relearned how to play. I basically kind of invented kind of a new technique, not really a new technique, but at least a way to be efficient with the technique, I suppose. And
and it's a unique instrument. Actually, if we can go to the third monitor for a second, you'll get a sense of, first off, why it's called the aircraft carrier.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
But it's just this in kind of an incredible. I suppose the obvious likening to would be like the Chapman Stick.
Yes.
But it's not like your typical Chapman Stick.
Yes, and I would and thank you for bringing that up, because I always do, of course, mention Mr. Emmett Chapman, who invented the Chapman Stick in 1969. And there is somebody that always comes up, not always, but there is somebody who is the first person. And in a weird way, he just gave birth to this idea, and it just went out into the world, And I'm not sure if that was his intention or not, but it was such a great idea that it really just went out there. And there are things that I'm not going to get into too much about it, but I've actually personally knew Emmett when he was still alive, and I actually even had the chance of playing the aircraft carrier in front of him, and
cool.
I had the most amazing experience with him. He was so nice to me. I was so lucky. So it was incredible, and I was very lucky.
You took the tradition and you've carried it forward in so many ways, and so.
And it was very special, and I felt like the luckiest person. And still can't believe it sometimes that Emmett really appreciated what I did, and he was very complimentary to me,
Wow.
and he never was rude or mean to me at all or uncomfortable. I was just, yeah. So it was pretty incredible. It's really amazing to see somebody who made their own instrument and own idea of how to make music,
Right.
and somebody like me who came generations after and then just never even actually met him, but just started somewhere and then had the chance to be introduced to him by my friend Kevin Ramsey in Japan. And shouts out to Ramsey, by the way. And then just being able to, like, in a way, just one person put it that Emmett adopted me that concert night. There was a stick night, which was just like
cool.
Chapman Stick music. And that's what she said. She was like, yeah, he adopted you that night. Like, yeah, you're
You're
and
in.
I was like, wow, this is incredible. So
That's
yeah.
really neat. I had no idea. Well, it's the stuff you don't know about your friends, right?
Yeah, totally. And I always mention him. Like I've mentioned him so much at every gigs, and I think today might be the first day actually in a long time that I actually even mentioned Michael and Daniel MTD before Emmett, because sometimes like I want to go in chronological order,
Right.
and it's because I know it's important, and Emmett made it very clear to me that it was very important that people knew that he started this, and I understood it. It wasn't like this weird ego thing. It was just something that was important to him, and it was so honest, and I was like, this is important. I agree. And
Yeah. Well, I mentioned to I was talking to a friend the other day and had mentioned the importance of legacy in things, because it's kind of easy to forget as we roll through the world, the people that pioneered things, who came, who came before us and did, what makes our world possible. Right. We stand, my dear friend, Pat Quilter, he constantly often says, we stand on the shoulders of giants. And in fact, I just had shared the other day some photos of Pat and a memory of when he met Leo Fender's widow. And we were having kind of this, I think it was a 60s kind of celebration of 60s music. And Pat, when he saw her, he got on one knee. I'm like, whoa, Pat, are you proposing to Leo Fender's, widow? What are you doing, everybody? But no, he actually got down on one knee and just said, I want to tell you to personally thank you for all the, years that you supported Leo as he went through and kind of created this world for us that we live in. I'm like, who is this man, right? Like, that's, Pat is a classy guy, but it was, what an example I think he set, and you continue to remind me of, and that's the powerful legacy of, because we forget sometimes in our quest to do this or do that or that actually we're standing on the shoulders of giants. All of us are, really.
Totally. And I, by the way, I like to add that I totally appreciate and understand why Pat did that. And I was lucky enough also for the Stick Night concert, I met Yuta, Emmett's wife. So I was able to thank her too, because,
Well, it's easy to forget everyone that really has contributed to it.
Yeah, totally.
And the power, of really everything we do to have what we have. Guitars didn't come from nowhere. The Chapman Stick didn't come from nowhere.
Right.
It actually took somebody to be the pioneer.
Yes.
And that, I've kind of noticed that broadly across music. We forget so quickly that, like the lap steel actually came from a fellow in a garage in Hawaii who figured out how to do it on his own.
Right.
That fella is one of the people that kind of created what ultimately became the first electric guitar. And so, in a weird sort of way, aloha Hawaii. It became this generational tradition that grew into what has become modern music, and that has grown out and become so widely utilized in so many different ways that we can't imagine. So it's cool to hear where you come from. But okay, so we got you all the way to Michael Tobias, I think, and Emmett. So like. Still, that doesn't explain the 40,000 plus hours you must have put in practicing at this point. And you said you went to Berkeley.
So I I didn't realize this until a friend of mine, Satoru, mentioned it to me, because we were talking, and often people get a kick out of knowing that I still practice like anywhere from, I would say, average of 6 hours a day. That's just like what I do. And so to me, that was just something that I do, and I've done from, say, like 25 or 26. That's what I was kind of guessing.
Right.
But then, like, my friend mentioned, like, no, you know what, man, you were like practicing in school already. So I was like, you know what, that's true. So I guess I've been doing this since I was 18.
Wow.
So it's just like an engraved lifestyle. And there's days like today I didn't practice 6 hours, but I'm just saying on average, if you
It's
average
still
it out, right? Right? Yeah. But so I still practice. I need it. It's a lifestyle. I believe that I could still get better, and there's so many small details that I know can be better with my playing. So yeah, there's no choice in that matter,
I remember Alan Holdsworth would always get off stage and apologize.
And
I'm going, what?
Right.
If I ever in my life get close to that, I'll be really thrilled. And you're like, I'm sorry, but it's a spirit, it's an attitude, if you will, that I've noticed that the great musicians, they really kind of have that to the core of their being, where it's not so much, it's incidental that I'm playing a show in front of people. It's what I would be doing anyway, right?
Yes. Definitely playing in front of people is a lot better, though, than
there's an energy. Room. There's a joy of the sharing of this monumental, talent that you've, created over really, 6 hours a day. Add that up, folks. That's a
lot. Yeah, I need to get a life,
No, don't we all? But But the joy of it sometimes, I was noting that for myself, I not being a great musician, I'm the first one to say I'm one of the okayest of musicians out there. But not being a great musician, part of the joy of music I've personally found is just the joy of playing with other people, and is actually what, which I just got done recording an album and all by myself. What happened there?
It happens sometimes.
It happens sometimes. But it's the joy of participating in it with other people, watching them when they nail that part, seeing that. And in your case, I mean, you've played with some, pretty serious players too.
Yeah, I've really had the fortune of playing with some, very famous to not famous, but really great musicians throughout my life. And if you can't tell, of course, already from the instrument I play, I like people, but I'm not much of a people person, I guess. I enjoy my solitude.
I so disagree with you.
I enjoy my solitude, if you will. Maybe that's the better way to put it. And I totally agree. Making music on your own, it's okay. Like, you just go like, wait a minute, how did that happen? But I think it is a good skill to have. Although the best part is creating music with people you want to create it.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big jam session person or anything like that. Maybe it's just my personality. I feel like if I could probably, do it. I mean, I'm trained, right? So I can do it, but I'm just like not very comfortable doing it, personality wise. So I really love playing music with the people that I want to play, and that's kind of the point, to create with other people,
Yeah.
And so I do understand that, and I appreciate that. Understand is maybe the wrong word, but I that's how I feel about that. But still, I would like to do that with the instrument I play, with how I play, I suppose. And I've been lucky enough to actually be able to do that with the aircraft carrier, with the MTD, for years. Even right before the pandemic, I think I had like one gig that I was playing regular bass on. Everything else, like if I get hired and I go, and most of the times I'll get hired by people who know me, but they'll hire me to play bass. But if there's not a second guitar player, I could actually totally just harmonize and play the second guitar parts and everything. So I'll just like bust out the aircraft carrier. I remember there was like one gig that I was like a Taiwanese like folk song show,
Right.
and then they only had one guitar player and not enough strings or keyboards, so I just like filled in some like color and play some of the second guitar parts and whatnot, and they were like, "Wow, we didn't know you could do that." And that was one of the reasons why I actually switched how I play, because I wanted to be able to sound like a regular bass player just with the one hand if I needed to, because tapping instruments have that own sound, and you're not going to satisfy somebody who is looking for a regular bass sound. And
Right.
that's actually one of the reasons why I switched up how I play, and I'm happy about that, because yeah, it just gave me more opportunities to play music, different music genre, if you will, with a lot of different people.
Yeah. Well, and I've noticed that there's a certain, I don't know, I could argue technical prowess. I could say, and for, most of the, musicians of such intermediate skill as myself, we tend to, oftentimes, I'm not one of those folks, but some people tend to go, well, yeah, you're playing a billion notes, you're blah, 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 blah. There's this a tendency in humanity in the first place to kind of off-put people that have exceptional skill and exceptional talent. And I'm just going to call it what it is. And what I noticed when I listened to you play was it wasn't your typical somebody just playing a technical, difficult. It was the beauty of what I could hear you talking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it does.
I was hearing what you were saying, with the instrument, and it was moving. Actually, and I wasn't expecting that. I was actually expecting the former, and I got the latter. And
great!
It surprised me that it's beyond passion. There's something you're saying, like how did you wind up getting there?
I believe that you probably checked out some stuff that I was playing duo with the drummer, right? Probably, or maybe something else. But in terms of making music,
I got sidetracked for like half a day.
Okay, so you probably checked out many different things. But for example, like I feel the most comfortable right now when I'm playing with my good friend, amazing drummer Keg, who lives in Japan.
Right.
Kegoi is what he goes in Japan, but he loves beer. So I said, hey man, let's just stop at the KEG because it's perfect, So we call him Keg now, but Keg is incredible. He grew up as a metal drummer, but then he was really interested in improvising, and then we just dove right in.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to do the thing, right? That's how you kind of have to learn on the job, right? Which he was willing to do, which is crazy to me, because he was so good at just being a metal drummer, and then he dove in and had like zero attitude about it. He was like super open about it, and there was like some really interesting qualities that he will bring to improvised music from a jazz drum metal drummer perspective. He could not hit a cymbal, just like delicately when we started first playing. Everything was like 120%. But now he is probably like the drummer that
I'm pretty sure I've seen videos of you playing with him because he sounds very familiar.
Like he could play at very low volume now, but with lots of intensity, which is kind of crazy to do. Like he'll have a very big sound, even if in intensity, if he can play that with low volume. Like he could definitely go lower than most drummers and still actually have like this intensity to him.
Right.
Which was crazy. But anyway, yeah, so he is somebody that I'm super comfortable with. Like we would actually also even hang out on tour, which is crazy, right? We could, if we have like half a day that we have to kill, we can just stand around for 6 hours, just like people watch and make up stories, what their story's about or something, and then go play a gig that night and still have a beer afterwards and say, all right. And then maybe after a week of that, we'd be like, man, see you the day after tomorrow. And in which case we just know we need each other's space, and we're just like, okay, cool.
That's cool.
And so people like him have made me really comfortable presenting music, and he has qualities that I do not. And I believe I have qualities that he doesn't. And we come from very different backgrounds, but those things mesh together does make my speaking or my speech or whatever it is, the music, the talking part happen
Right.
because the comfort and just the joy of actually doing it. I think I have the most smiles and laughs and the best times of my life when I'm playing with him, basically.
And I watch like that's part of you. Okay, get on and just go YouTube Kai, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He's talking like, and you see him communicating, like looking and communicating while he's communicating. It's really incredible, actually. It's a worthy watch. For I was explaining to Brian one day that how music is such it's another language, and it's a little lost sometimes for folks who don't play, or oftentimes for when people haven't really spent the time to master the instrument, but they can maybe play along and jam. There comes a point where you're so comfortable playing that you stop playing and you're talking to each other. My friend Ron does this all the time. Lots of musicians do. But it's kind of special when I watch it because I see what you're saying. And that's what makes it such a joy because it's easy to get lost sometimes in I don't know. It's easy to get lost sometimes when you watch someone that has a unique gift and forget the very human communication that's kind of going on behind it. And that's what I think for me is one of the big special things about one of the most special things about watching what you do as you do it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's just something I stuck with, and it's not something I decided I was gonna do. Almost, it's just something I kept doing without deciding to do it, which I think is probably a good thing because I've never been somebody who stuck with what I said I was going to do. That was probably one of the things that my mom can tell you about me when I was much younger is like right. she would almost always say like you never stick with stuff, and
well, it's an active mind, and that's kind of ask my wife, she'll tell you that I have about 10,000 projects going on at any given point in time. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I can live forever that way because I always have a bunch of stuff I got to get done before I die, right?
Yes.
And I don't know, maybe that's me, but I think it's an active mind thing. It's part of what I think it keeps us going. But musically speaking, like how do you keep it interesting? Practicing 6 hours a day, is great. But how do you keep your mind engaged in that?
Part of it is a lifestyle. Like I said, it's not. So I don't think every hour is like the most amazing thing. And there are times when let's say like, it's like been 5 hours and I say, okay, I think I've done really good today. I'm just going to practice this one little bit and then just like for 5 minutes and then quit because I feel good. And then sometimes the last hour, like that little part that I just wanted, and I'm just like sitting there doing it wrong for an hour. So it does happen,
right?
That it's not all fruitful. So I know that's the truth, but it is just kind of a lifestyle as well. And I do believe that there's so many parts of my playing that could be better because often the tiniest details are the things that really separate from a good, amazing player to a good player, or all these different levels. Right, there's levels to this, and often it's the smallest thing that separates those levels. When you're doing 2 to 3 things, those small things are kind of hard to really get good. And I feel like my playing overall, like, it's probably kind of impressive because most of the times it's kind of impressive because you think about, okay, this one person is doing it and it actually sounds like 2 or 3 people and not just in a tapping manner. It just sounds like my left hand, right hand do completely different techniques actually.
Right.
I think that's not too much of an overstatement. And then fine-tuning those small things, like even like getting in that like one little mute or one little vibrato, one little whatever. It's when you do 2 or 3 things, it's not twice as hard. It's probably like, I don't know, close to 10 times as hard to actually do it well.
Well, I mean, I probably if I invested as much time, I could actually achieve such a thing. However, like it's a whole other thing to get your technique to the point where you can just do it.
Yeah.
Then there's doing it rhythmically correctly. Then
right.
Then there's I mean, there's so many layers.
Yes.
to get to the point where you're actually looking at someone and going, oh yeah, I see what you're doing, and play with them. Geez, like I can't imagine.
Yeah.
In a weird sort of way, it's like by doing all of this, you've managed to kind of take it's removing the obstacles to have that communication. Maybe is what it is.
Truly, like by the time I actually get to where I want to, like in a way, all those obstacles would be gone, and in a way, if you didn't see what I was playing, it might just sound like it just sounds like a normal band play.
Right. Yeah, not quite. No.
I know there's some stuff that I do.
It's truly unique. I mean, like, go see Kai live. That's my first thing I'm going to tell you. Because even the video doesn't do it. He doesn't play through a single, well, let's talk about gear. We can talk gear. It's okay. You don't play through a thing.
Yes.
You play through several things to achieve this. In fact, the instrument, which it's worth talking about, but it splits out into its own sections, if I recall.
Yes. So so it has 4 outputs.
Right.
And that was very specific for me. Usually like a Chapman Stick or something similar is built to have 2 regions. And of course, it's up to the player if they could make it sound more like, of course, there's, classical guitar players that make one guitar sound like so many parts. So I understand that it is up to the player, but the way it is designed is 2 regions. Mine is designed to be 3 regions. So I have some very low bass notes in the middle, and I have what would be an equivalent to, range-wise at least, a guitar in my left hand. And I have some extra chords up, which is also in the guitar range on my right hand. So normally I'll be playing bass and chords in my right hand and lead or whatever else in my left.
Right.
And it's fretted, fretless, and fretted to basically sound completely different. I want not every song, but when I play with a drummer or in an ensemble, I want to be able to build layers. So it is designed to make different sounds. And I also have a GK pickup. So that's that goes to I used to use a Roland VV99. That's sound modeling, and these days I'm using the GM800, which is more like a guitar synth. So I could build even more layers, and that's the 4th that's the 4th output. So I have basically So I take that and I have this like tiny little passive mixer that I usually travel with, so I can plug everything there, dial my sound, and then just send it to the house or just send it to 1 amp. And usually it sounds like I'm coming out of several different amps. I'm not sure. Well, a lot of people mention that they are very surprised when they learn I'm just like sending basically a mixed signal to an amp, because I guess it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I think I actually heard you one day and you were playing with here at Studio Q. Mm-hmm. You were actually playing through you had one input going into like
that is the best. Yeah, I've been spoiled here. Like I think I've done stuff where I've gone to the V803 for one, and I think my lead was going to the direct amp, coming out just some speakers,
that's right.
And then I think my chords were coming out of a Mac 3. So
oh my gosh,
and then it sounds incredible. I mean, that is like, but I'm not going to be able to do that for every gig.
Yeah, that's a lot of gear to bring.
Yeah, that's just unrealistic. So if a venue has 4 amps that I can use at my disposal, I would definitely go 4 amps.
Right.
And it makes such a big difference.
Right.
It's so crazy, and it makes a big difference for the drummer too, because they're like, "Whoa, I can actually really hear everything now that you're doing, instead of just like coming from one spot." And
yeah, that must be tough to monitor too, because you might get it to sound decent through the PA system, but that would be a challenging for everyone to hear it that same way.
Yeah, exactly. So I've had some very fun interactions with PA, operators and venue owners and what else. And then sometimes they're like, "How do I mix this thing? Like, why do you need 4 amps?" Right? Like, right. I'm like just. And this is often with me and Keg, and we'll just be like, just pretend we're a band and just mix it as a band. And they're like, "What?"
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, wow.
And then by the end of the night, they look at me and say, "Oh, you know what? I got it. I should have just mixed you as a band." I'm like, "That's what I told you at the beginning. Just like just because, and I'll give them a guidance being like, okay, I want this amp to be here, and then maybe this amp a little underneath it, and then maybe just put the bass wherever is comfortable for you. But and they'll still be like, huh?
No, I can understand, because it's hard to wrap your head around something new.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's one of the and Kai, you're definitely something new for most people.
I thank you.
And it's not a bad new. It's a the beauty, I think, personally, of knowing a lot of musicians, and I know a lot of musicians, practically everyone I know, is really the difference is it's the uniqueness that each one of them has brought. And growing up, a lot of times people like myself, as a child, I'm like, ooh, I don't like this kind of music, and I love this kind of music, and I want to hear this, and as I've matured over time, the things that I had struggled with previously, kind of becomes some of the most beautiful music as I begin to realize who it is and what they're doing with it, and that profound kind of a personality that comes out from behind it. In your case, like I said, it's easy to get lost looking at the amazing instrument. It's easy to get lost in what on earth, because look, I'm gonna call it as it is. I first saw you play it and went, how? How is that even humanly possible? There's no way this guy's doing this. And that, I'm thinking for most, sound engineers especially, they're so used to the world being the way they see the world.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest challenges, and I'm kind of curious, of your take on this. One of the greatest challenges is when you're bringing something new, and that's what you do every day. We're going to have secret conversations about marketing after we turn all the cameras off. But how do you get people to kind of come to that? That's a tough question, I know, but it's what works for you in achieving that, I suppose. There you go.
I think I learned early on that because of the environment I was in, I feel very lucky. Most people don't care what you play; they just care how you play it.
Yeah.
And so I realized that, and which is kind of important. Sometimes I think that gets lost to a lot of people, not to professional musicians, because I think everybody understands that. But yeah, I understood that, and I thought, but this is kind of what I want to play. How do I actually just play it good? Well, you just get good at it. Just shut up and just do the thing,
Shut up and play your guitar, Frank Zappa.
So I started playing in front of people before I was good at it. That's just kind of how the journey has to go sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so that's what I did, and still it was still fun and good enough for a lot of people to enjoy.
Right. And I'm sure that drove you to want to improve.
Yeah, exactly.
And then in the process of wanting to improve, you found the joy of actually working with that instrument and achieving. Yeah.
And I think it also helped that there was a lot of, haters. Is haters the right word? People, that they'll just give me, S and just whatever opinions, harsh ones, things that don't matter. But often I actually stop and think, what? That person's not wrong, though. Their presentation is terrible, but sometimes what they're saying is not wrong. So I was like, how do I actually make that happen on this instrument?
Yeah.
And I've kind of always had an open mind about that. So I always feel like I'm actually almost on the side. I do play, an instrument with 12 strings and something that most people think is ridiculous, but I'm kind of on that critic side personally. Right. That's my personality. I don't want to, in a way, give an excuse for people to criticize, or not that I'm I'm afraid
they're going to criticize anyway.
Right. And not that I'm afraid of being criticized or anything, but I just figured, let's just take away all these excuses, and what's the easiest way to do that? Just get better.
Yeah.
and honestly, like, somehow that worked for me.
It becomes its own driving force in your life.
Yeah, and it wasn't like I'm just gonna. It wasn't like I'll show them thing. It was just like, this is what I want to play, and let's just like make it happen. And honestly, meeting Michael Tobias was by chance, I think, and I to this day I still can't believe he built that for me, Michael and Daniel, and that is still just.
I actually have a
crazy.
few friends who are also artists with MTV.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
yeah, it's just so crazy. I don't know. I really feel like for me it was the right path, because along the way I met some people who I can really rely on and started growing in, like, the musical relationship with people.
It's beautiful when we discover some of our harshest critics, and rather than because that's what I'm kind of getting from this, which actually I resonate with that. It's sometimes our harshest critics, the stuff we don't want to hear. We hear it, and it drives us to become better.
Yeah,
and in that becoming better, it turns out they were giving you a gift the whole time.
Sure.
And even though we didn't want to hear it, it becomes the thing that actually drives us to become a better person,
right.
A better partner in life, and though it's painful at the time, like I look back on some of people who maybe said some kind of scathingly horrible things about me, which I didn't agree with. But I feel you. It drove me to change, to work harder, to be better,
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is their criticism, which was directed in a shitty way, which I'll say it. I'm not afraid.
Well, I mean, if we couldn't say whatever words we can, I mean, I will.
I always put "not made for kids" when I post these podcasts.
Very, very good, very good.
But those things that they intended to harm me become the very tools that fuel me becoming like a stronger person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always kind of chuckle. It gets under my skin, I'll admit, but then I get past it and go, you know what? You just made me stronger.
Right.
Punk.
Once in a while, like, it happens, but I mean, it's been so long. I've been going through this from day one, and probably deservedly so, because I couldn't play at the time.
Right.
I cannot even remember the last time, like, somebody actually, like, that I was actually bothered by any of that, because I feel like I've done some good time, and I'm actually pretty good now. Like, I know I can get better. I'm not saying like I'm like the best in the world or anything. I know I can get better, but
if Holdsworth gets off the stage and apologizes,
right.
The rest of y'all can shut up.
Right, exactly. but I know that I've in a way where it resonate with you. I feel like I should put out good, or most musicians are. I feel like I've done enough good that I don't have to be bothered by people's like negative opinions or something, or ignorance or whatever it is. I mean, chances are they might be great people and they'll come around, but they maybe just had a bad day because they're at NAMM,
At NAMM, everything's bad. Like there's no hope at NAMM.
All right.
And at NAMM, it's funny. I was talking to a friend a few years ago, who I just met actually. And I said, this place is soul crushing.
It is.
And it's not like soul crushing in like Nashville. You go to Nashville and you like walk down Broadway and like you put your head in the first, bar there and you're like, I have never heard a guitarist that good in my life. Wow. I'm going to go home and just stomp all my guitars out of existence. Now, NAMM is soul crushing in a different kind of way. Yeah. Like, you go in and first off, there's the sound.
Oh, yeah.
Which I tell people, we bring an Airstream trailer.
Yes.
You were in the Airstream
yes.
At NAMM. And we sound dampen the inside of the thing. So we've like got all the sound dampening inside so we can use it like a mobile demo booth, right? Was what we were originally thinking. And now we've turned it into a sales meeting. But I bring people inside the booth and I go, just touch the wall for a second and feel what's hitting your ears the moment you step. Like
Right.
your fingers are going, and I'm going, that's inside
Yes.
where you can't hear it. This is 3 or 4 days of this,
Yeah.
right, and it's you just feel beat down, and you have kind of endless, it's this game of endless, like, am I paying attention to the right people? Am I having the right conversations?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know that, like, humanly I can have more self-doubt personally than going to the NAMM show, and just, what ought to be for a lot of musicians, it's a chance to in NAMM, I'm not picking on you. I appreciate what you do. It's just that it's so, like, soul crushingly loud.
Yeah.
And like you see these people that, I get to see you and get a chance to hang out for a couple minutes, but I only get to hang out for a couple minutes. You got to go see 20 other people.
Yeah.
And and I get it. And that's our life in the business. But there's nothing really glamorous there,
Yeah.
and then, it's I had one year where the sound police were just coming after me, and he comes over and he tells me, turn it down, dude. And I'm like, I'm not even plugged in.
The sound police.
Yes, the sound
Yeah,
police.
yeah.
They have sound police at
They
NAMM
do,
for,
yeah.
for those who haven't had the joy of attending. And, it's so you can demo something, but how are you going to demo anything realistically? That's why when we were kind of showing off our first version of the Elevate, we brought these headphones.
Oh, totally.
So that people could actually still not hear, even with the headphones on, the sound of the product. And so it was, it was challenging for NAMM is its own challenge, realistically. The joy of seeing everybody again and just getting a chance to hang out a little bit is wonderful. But, realistically speaking, like I said, it's kind of soul crushing.
Yes.
And I don't know. I don't know if you ever run into that, like, in other aspects, but, what are the biggest challenges for you musically? Like, and for being a performing artist.
Well, let me hop on the NAMM thing a little bit.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. So I agree with everything you say, but I think I actually been having a healthier relationship with NAMM itself in maybe the last 7 or 8 years or so.
Yeah.
And, it's nice to say hi to people. You make the rounds.
Yep.
And sometimes that's the only time you get to see them.
Yeah.
And I learned to appreciate it for what it is.
Yep.
And also, like you say, you can't hear anything at NAMM, but if it slightly sounds good there, it's worth checking it out again.
Well, it's true. You do get to see cool stuff. And maybe that's a good point, because I'm always working the booth. I'm a musician. I want to go see all the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, maybe that's why I'm having a problem. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and also, like, for me personally, what I also enjoyed, like, this past NAMM, I'm with Curling Cables. I love their cables. Great company, great people. And I was like, you know what? It'd be really cool if Quilter and Curling Cables worked together. And so there was like
and we did.
Yeah. So, like, connecting people to people, I think there's that opportunity too. So I feel like, even though it's soul crushing and it's loud and it's crazy, and after NAMM, I often would get the anthrax or pneumonia, and then besides that, you want to not see anybody for like a month. But other than that, it is what it is, and
it never fails. Every year I get the whatever flu is coming through. I can't believe I dodged COVID when it first came out, because it was right after the NAMM show.
It was.
Man, that was like that soul crushed, and maybe that's part of it too. It soul crushed NAMM after that, because like the following year, NAMM was like 1/10 the size it normally was,
or 2 years after that, right?
2 years, because I think we skipped a year.
Yeah, I think I was done saying my hellos in like 2 hours, and I was like, what do I do?
20 minutes.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Right.
I was like, wow, like, is NAMM going to survive?
Yeah.
And actually, though, I think it's still a valuable thing, in the world of NAMM. It's still a valuable thing. We definitely had all the right people talk to us this year, in my opinion. And that's both from the standpoint of, consumers just getting a chance to try out. In our case, we kind of revealed the Elevate, kind of pre-revealed it. And it got some of our dealers to, pay attention to, like, oh, hey, hold on, you haven't told us about this yet.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, it's because we're just kind of showing it and getting reactions.
Yeah.
Actually, the funny thing is, I'll give a shout out to the gear page. I took a photo of it and posted it on our users group, right? And the gear page, they're all like getting back to the whole point of your harshest critic can sometimes be your best friend. And they were all, oh, look at this thing. This is just garbage. It's it was his own version of soul crushing. Dude, it was worse. I played as me and Brian were doing demos of stuff, and I'm just like playing an A chord so we can hear as he's tweaking it. And they're all like, dude, this guy is like the worst guitarist of all time. And I'm like, I actually know a dude worse. There's like one guy. But I got kind of butthurt about it. I'm like, really? Come on, dude. Like, I'm just demoing the thing, right? And they were like, oh, it looks like a cheap plastic dishwasher, like buttons, I'm like, they're not even buttons. They're like capacitive touch sensing. And it gets back to the heart of, okay, so, we took a look at all the harsh criticisms. Thank you, the gear page, all you gear page guys out there. And we went back and actually redesigned the front of the thing. And we put all these cool icons on it that you touch now. And I'm like, actually, y'all did us a favor because you're kind of right. It looked a little bit like a dishwasher thing. And actually, it looks, in my opinion, way cooler now.
Nice.
And so, again, it may be soul crushing, yeah, but at the same time, look what it actually did for our business, right?
And so this is almost like a mentality of being a student for life, but it's like a free lesson. Like you usually would have to pay somebody to get all this info, but it's like a free lesson,
Well, that's true. Okay, so now challenges. You got to talk to me, man. What are your challenges in the music world?
Currently?
Yep.
Currently, challenges.
Actually, I mean, we were talking earlier, and you did mention one enormous challenge that you're facing at the moment.
Yeah. So I'm what it's called a O1 visa. I live in Los Angeles, and I've been on a O1 visa, artist visa, extraordinary ability visa.
Yeah, extraordinary.
So, and actually, little side note, the first time I was applying for this visa, I used a lawyer. Now I actually do it myself. 500-page petition all by myself. My thing is like 500 pages.
Wow.
The lawyer who I was using, because you got to use the word extraordinary and everything, right? And you got to make a case for this. And she actually checked out a little bit what I do, and she went, "Wow, you're actually extraordinary."
I know. That's why I'm like, extraordinary is actually the understatement in this case.
So, anyways, I am leaving to Japan on early September. And the plan was to finish my touring and seminars and whatnot and come back like mid to like October.
Right.
But I am going to be having to wait for my visa because the processing time is long right now. And so I actually got a one-way ticket for now.
Right.
So I won't have to stress about, switching the dates and all that. And
which is a little terrifying for me because I'm worried, like, when am I going to see you next time? That's why I'm glad I got you in here for a moment. Yeah.
This is the main reason of my visit today. This is like extra. I just was like, you know what? One of the challenges, this is not current challenges, but from before, but one of the challenges, maybe with anybody, is connecting with a product, but also with the people behind the product. Yeah. And I've had challenges with that with an amp company for a while. I used to be with a particular one, and after that, I was using this other company for a little bit. Shouts out to Trickfish, Justin especially. Thank you so much for lending me gear during the pandemic to use for gigs at Hollywood and Highland. Now Ovation Hollywood, they did this thing for a little while where I was playing in the courtyard for people dining outside because
that's cool.
And I didn't have something powerful enough. And I called up Justin, and he was like, "Hey, just come and grab whatever you want. You just don't even have to worry about a date to return. Just let me know when you're done." Amazing,
cool.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was amazing. But I just didn't decide to go with them for a while, and we're still cool, of course. But
yeah.
And then I met you guys via Brian, basically, via New Neighbor, because when I first heard his reverb, that's the first product I heard. I just, this this is incredible.
It
This
really
just
is something.
It's so beautiful. Like I think that might have been the first time that I had kind of an emotional reaction to how an effect sounds, not what was played by the effect, but just like hearing something. Because most of the times not most of the times, but if you're a good player or if you hear somebody who's amazing, they could probably make anything sound emotional and amazing, right? But just plug in, play an A chord. It could be the worst A chord ever. And I was just like, wait a minute, this thing sounds incredible. So the next NAMM, I think I introduced myself to New Neighbor. I didn't meet Brian at the time because I think that year I missed him. But the following year was the first time I think I met him in person. But through that, I was introduced to introduced to Quilter and its products and its people.
Right.
And that's been really amazing to me, actually.
And vice versa. It's and you've become such a dear friend. In fact, we even got to talk about like his mom made us this thing that lives in Studio Q right now. That
exactly. This is just like handmade. Yeah, it's just appreciation.
I don't know, man. I've got a lot of musician friends, but I don't have a lot of friends.
Right.
Who like actually do cool stuff and like kind of add both, to our company. But like it seems like a trivial thing, but it's not. It's every time I see it, it has meaning for me.
Yes.
And brings kind of a warmth to the place. I'm like, it's the one light that never goes out here, that always keeps it's going. And it's cool because it's seasons. So each there's summer, winter, fall, and spring.
Yes.
And I actually on the day I turn it.
Oh, nice.
I do. Like it's silly, whatever. Blah,
that is great.
Actually, because it matters to me.
I'd never even mentioned that to you, but that alone shows you that shows me that you get
meaning,
it.
Yeah.
The meaning.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so that was a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Like finding a right amp company, because I was with a company for a little bit, and that was great, but but that didn't last very long because the company went under and everything. Right. And then, you still keep a relationship with the people behind it, but it wasn't like, I don't know. It was good, but it was just like musician and company thing. And and sometimes that's okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're lucky you get more than that.
Yeah.
And I think I was at the point of my life, especially, it was because I think it was also because I had the MTD, and that kind of really changed my view on life or perspective on life. And and I've always valued the same thing.
Right.
And I thought, you know what, let's just really wait and kind of just you're not in a hurry. Let's take your time and figure out what's like the really right move for you.
Right.
And so I think I was like not with an amp company for I don't even know how long, but I had a gear that was working. It wasn't like the best sounding thing, but it worked and it got me through it. And yeah, and I'm not like a crazy gearhead or anything. If something works,
but it matters.
It does. It does.
It's because inspiration is tough. Mm-hmm. To your point, you heard the reverb and it moved you.
Yeah,
it actually said something without having to get into the technical details, without having to get into the into the features, functions, price, this, that. I mean, come on, we live in a world of. I was pointing that out to Brian the other day that we get lost sometimes in gear and forget about the humanity of music, about how we weave tales and tell stories. And it, like I said, when I watch you perform, I watch you talk, I hear you, right? I hear you, the Kai I know, coming out from that. Gear it's just part of the thing. When we've run out of words, it helps us to keep speaking and say the things those words can't really do,
And also, as I was saying about the MTD, it does bring like joy and warmth to me in a way, which is, and I feel like I don't want to sound like I'm trying to just like sell stuff, which I'm not, but it like the Quilter New Neighbor stuff does the same. And
Yeah.
when I first got the MTD, and there's a whole story up until there too, right? Like the previous instruments I had, and then
Right.
people who helped me maintain those instruments.
Oh yeah.
All those things, like, kind of, it symbolizes the journey, all the humans that I met up
Yeah.
until there. And then it made sense to me to make sure that going forward, the human aspect has always been important to me. So why don't we just fully lean into that now?
Right.
It's okay. You've paid your time in full already up until that point.
Right.
So I think it's okay now to lean into that. And then, I don't know, like, I guess I put in the time. Like, stuff just doesn't happen by, just by saying you want something. Some people think that it does, but I don't. Like, you have to actually work for it,
Oh, yeah.
And when it happens, you say thank you to whatever forces that made it happen for you. And I'm sure, you, or in this case myself, is part of it. But I realized, again, going back to the MTD, I was part of it, but I really was just overwhelmed how great Michael and Daniel are, you
Yeah.
know? And then when you
Truly wonderful people.
yeah, when you get that, you just go, you know what? Okay. Like, you can get better.
Well, and it's that's part of the beauty of the symbiosis of for that's a challenge for companies. Kind of on the other end of that. I was pointing out to someone that, like, I get on an average day, well, depending, 2 to 3 people sending me things, wanting free things, basically. And it's not to pick on people, because I'm not. I understand the challenges of being a musician. We haven't got a raise since 1968. It's a challenging world to live in.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if you want to try to do that as a profession. Like,
Yeah.
I was sharing with Brian just the other day, there was a study done that in 2024, 72% of the touring musicians lost money on their tour.
I remember that you mentioned that from the
Wow.
Yeah. By the way, go check out the episode where they talk music business.
Oh, people are mad about me. About
Okay,
that.
maybe don't go check it
No, because I made the bold prediction that the artists that are going to be the most successful going forward are, and I don't mind, I'll say it again, I really think it's true. In essence, what I'm saying is, and I'm right about this, is the artists that are really going to be most successful are the ones that figure out how to use new tools and use those to take what they do and enhance it. And mind you, that doesn't mean I'm saying that, it's going to replace human creativity. Absolutely not. I don't even want to be in a world like that. I don't think, and the other thing is the inauthenticity of it will come to the surface real quick. If it's not really who you are, nah, we all have bullshit detectors, and
Yeah.
they're going to catch that.
Totally.
And we've already seen a lot of that. Like Rick Beato made an AI fake. I saw some. I didn't actually. I'll admit I didn't watch the video. He made a fake band, and the fake band, he made fake pictures and put it on Spotify. And I'm like, okay, what is your point exactly? Right? We were talking about doing an AI thing, and I'm like, nah. Come on, Rick. Why are you wasting your time doing that? Like, you could have actually just made a song, and we would have all been happy to listen to it. I'd love to hear his stuff, actually. The power, when I listen to you, it's not listening to someone playing notes or making this or doing that, or the amazement that how is a human being actually doing this? It's the power of going, I can tell you got your heart broken, dude. And I hear that coming out, and it brings me to my times. It's that connection, the human connection of it. That it's a powerful thing.
Yes.
As we go through life, we kind of forget this sometimes, that it's one of the most effective ways that human beings can communicate, because it says things that my words aren't capable of, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it is a very it's something that I think a lot of people's bullshit detectors can detect soon. Like,
Yep.
I mean, if you're not, playing what's true to you or playing some, lies, it's probably gonna be caught with the detectors. And I'm not saying like everything I play is like the most 100% honest and most amazing thing always.
Me neither.
Stuff makes it through the cracks, you're not, but that's part of the human experience too, right? So,
and at the end of the day, I think that's kind of the thing, that the heart of music really gets down to that communicate. It's a communication. It's we're saying something. I feel sexy. I feel strong. I feel bold. I feel weak. I feel broken. Some of the greatest songs, Hallelujah. Why is that one of the most searched for and more people want to play that song? Why? Why is this Jeff Buckley song such a thing, right? It's because of the deepness of what I think is being said, even though it's not really specific. It really isn't. Like you read, you listen to the lyrics and you're like, what are you trying to get at? It's the I've sat and cried over that song before, like just playing it by myself because of what my heart was saying to me at the time and the things I was going through. We forget that sometimes. We get so lost in gear, and that's to for the haters out there. You can hate on me all you want, dude. Like I will just go and sit down with that piano. I'll just go sit down with my guitar, and you don't exist to me anymore. But the beauty that's now open to me, it's mine, and you can't take that. And the beauty is, for you, in your case, is that you take that and you share that so freely,
I do what I can, and speaking of gear and challenges, not so realistic one.
But the challenges of gear actually, and getting it to the places you need it. Oh boy,
yeah.
I mean, that's one of the big reasons why we we kind of veered off into the land of heads a while back. Kind of a little bit of the under the hood, what's going on at Quilter Labs, and why have they done the things they've done? Actually, we've just discontinued most all of our cabinets. And people are like, why? You make all these heads. Why not have cabinets that go with them?
Right.
And I said, because our competitors, a lot of them are making better cabinets than we do. And not in the case of the base stock 10, but the...
or the 12.
Well, and actually specifically because we designed the head to go into it.
Yes.
But, and so it's really kind of helpful for people to do that. To, if you're wanting to have a combo, but then be able to pop the head off and go fly. Why did we get out of it? Because our stuff wasn't really cost effective for the consumer. And ultimately, I had to say, am I doing the right thing for our customer?
Right.
By keeping these things alive? Like, we can do it. But if I really do care, then there should come a point where I go, either we're adding enough of a value where I think there's a compelling reason you should do that, or just get out of the business and leave more room for other people that really are more passionate about it to do that. And in some respects, that lets us free ourselves up a little bit for that next generation of products. Because now I don't have to build it to specifically fit in that space, in that footprint anymore.
Yes.
And so now I'm like, Pat, you're free. You can build, well, because think about it. You're
true,
limited to like this much space that you have to put all these knobs on.
Right.
What if like we want to add like 4 more feature sets that aren't available there?
Right.
How do we do that? The answer is you just can't. Because we got to put it in a block dock or a base dock.
Right. But you know what? I am quite happy with the V803. And when I'm happy with something, somebody too, like I stick around for a long time. Like my delay pedal, I've been using it for like, I don't know how long, like the DD20, like I've been using it, I don't know, like 20 something years at this point. And I feel like V803, like I'm super happy with it. And plus, it's super easy to travel with, which I've done. So,
and for a traveling musician, and you are, definitely, I don't know many people that get around the globe quite as much as you do. That's got to be a huge challenge.
It's great. It's so fun just like being able to take that thing out of. I had one venue, like the sound person was like, I don't know if our cabinet can handle that. So I was like, okay, it's okay. I'll just not stress you out. I'm just going to use the head, whatever's here.
Right.
But every place else, like I was able to plug in. And if people don't know, there's like the 3 voice switches, like the modern, warm, and Q-tube. Like I actually like that was one of my favorite things to do was like once I kind of dial in my sound and everything and I'm feeling pretty good, but then I would actually switch between all those as I'm going through sound check because depending on the room, like that kind of made a difference like how I.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it was not just like the way that I sort of the way it cuts through the room or the way it kind of hits your body, like that part was like kind of fun switching through and figuring out what was like the most comfortable that day.
So fascinating.
Yeah. So that was
because it's changing the output impedance. Well, I suppose there's enough of a change in it that I guess it makes sense. I've never I understand like EQing for a given space or a given room.
Yeah.
But in that particular case, it's going to increase or decrease the damping factor. So it'll sharpen the attack or not. So it's interesting that you would feel that. That's cool. Right on, man.
Yeah. I
learned something new today.
You know what? And I feel like this was something I did with the drummer Keg, and we would both be like, wow, I feel like this room, like the Q tube really fits today.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, I hope this is true, and maybe this is just not. But either way, the point is I had fun with it.
What feels right is what feels.
That's what I'm saying. Like it felt
the challenge. Yeah.
Like the way it felt, and I mean, of course, the way it sounds different too. Yeah. But the way it sounds and feels is, of course, important. And being able to sort of like manipulate that, like by a switch on the spot, and not having to go and change like EQ or the input and stuff, like. That was just a blast for me. I'm just like, oh, this is kind of cool. I could just like pick something really quickly that I feel comfortable with.
Well, I could hang out with you all day, and I already pretty much have. But
yeah, right.
In fact, we're all like, hey, should we like go get in front of the camera and start talking? Because like we're killing all of our energy talking to each other in the first place. But it's such a joy to see you. Always a joy to see you. And
thank you, Chris, for having me.
And as I always like to say, it's been too long, and it's going to be too long until the next time.
It's going to be exactly way too long.
It's going to be exactly way too long. That's right. But I love you, man. I suppose number one, be sure to check out Kai on, of course, social media.
Please do.
The easiest way, go to happysad.org, where you can check out. He has classes. He's got. Have you done any albums yet?
Yeah, I got albums on.
Are you on Spotify?
No, I am not.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Did I say it? I'm going to get in trouble again. Keep getting in trouble lately. So, but you have them available on
Bandcamp.
So go check them out on Bandcamp.
And you know what? I think I would recommend my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Kai Kurasawa. That's always because you can get the visual aspect of it too. And most of the stuff has high quality unless it's like a blog video. If it's like a performance video, it'll have like good audio and good video. Gotcha, yeah. So that's always for somebody who's new to what I do. And chances are you're not going to be able to tell, especially what my right hand is doing. I would explain it to people sometimes, and they'll be like, no, you're not doing that. And I understand.
I've seen it, and I still don't understand it.
It's like a magic trick. It's like very small movements. I think, and it's kind of hard to spot, even though you know what you're doing.
It's incredible, I have to say. And what a gift. And I thank you so much for sharing that gift with us.
And thank you for letting me share with...
And we have to give a shout out to Michael Tobias,
Daniel Tobias.
Yep. And who else are we saying hi to?
Mr. Emmett Chapman. He sadly passed away, but pioneer, as you said the word. Yeah,
well,
I think that's the word.
On the shoulders of giants.
Yes.
All of us.
He is definitely a giant.
And we get to hold on to music for a little while as we pass through, and then it goes on to the next generation. So
yeah.
That's actually kind of right now what I'm totally psyched, but we can't talk all day. So I got to let you guys go. Be sure to check out all of his social media. Be sure to check him out on YouTube. And if there's any way on earth that you can, man, you want to get one of these lamps.
You know what? Maybe next time she has her private showing in Japan, that's a good time to visit.
Yeah, you should for sure. Because they're cool and I love them. Okay, so with that, we'll see you guys next time on The Q Show.